once again throws the spotlight on combating racism and exclusionary behavior. 2016 saw schoolgirl protests over hair and language policies and allegations of racism surface at some of our schools. And the Mpumalanga coffin incident, where two men forced Retta Bila Mtloshwa into a coffin, sparked outrage. Now that racial assault went viral on social media. These incidents, among others, emphasize the need for more attention on social cohesion and managing diversity across all spectrums of society. Well, Dr. Rajendran Govender is a social anthropologist and social cohesion expert. He joins us now from our Durban studios. Good afternoon, Dr. Govender, and thank you for making time during the holiday season.
Good afternoon, Keshni, and it's an absolute delight being here.
Doc, how was South Africa's social cohesion strategy formulated? How does it work, and how is it being implemented right now?
1994 was a deeply important year for South Africa because it ushered in a democratic society committed to the eradication of racism, sexism, and all form of discrimination. But there were many challenges, although there were some positive effects that came about as a result of the integration of the different races in South Africa. There were many challenges, and out of these challenges, the National Department of Arts and Culture, together with all the provincial departments, have introduced a process in order to create a possible platform for people to dialogue and talk so that they can eradicate racism and introduce social cohesion and nation building. And this was done in the form of community dialogues that were held in different parts of the provinces, where people from different races, sexes, age groups were brought together around a common table, and they were able to discuss some of the positive things that happened since 1994 and also some of the challenges they face. And arising out of these dialogues, a process was underway where all the inputs from these dialogues were taken to the first summit that was held at Kliptown in Soweto. And at the summit, a manifesto was created whereby it assisted the national department and the provincial departments to introduce a process of change in terms of social cohesion and nation building. And out of that summit arose further dialogue, because it would be impossible to try to overcome South Africa's challenges over one sitting. So there were further dialogues that took place.
Now, Doc, interestingly, in South Africa, we have linked social cohesion to nation building. But this is not a global trend, and we are unique in that sense. Why is this so significant for us?
It's very important for us to understand that social cohesion is the end product of a process. What has been happening so far is attempts to create opportunities for nation building through these dialogues, through events like celebrating Freedom Day, Heritage Day, Africa Day, and all those important days as an opportunity of bringing people together to come and share their knowledge, their culture, their religion, their artistic forms, etc. Because towards this nation building process, the end result is towards bringing together a socially cohesive society. So this is very unique to South Africa, because you must understand that South Africa is made up of multiple of identities based on class, gender, age, language, geographic location, and religion. And because of that, South Africa has introduced in its constitution mechanisms to protect the interest of minority groups. And by doing that, they also created the Commission for the Cultural, Religious, and Linguistic Rights, because they foresaw that there would be tensions arising out of bringing people together in a socially cohesive manner.
Doc, on that note, you've attended a number of cohesion summits and written extensively, and in South Africa in particular, taking into account our painful past when it comes to racially discriminatory policies, job reservation, etc., the denial of racism is clearly not an option, and one can understand the frustrations of many people when there is such denial from those who benefit and continue to be beneficiaries of apartheid privilege and still enjoy things like social capital, generational wealth, even after the advent of democracy. Would such an acknowledgement actually ease the process of social cohesion?
As a country, made up of such a diverse society, we have to confront and truthfully engage with issues of social justice, identity politics, in which challenges such as racism, clanism, ethnicity, and the like become pronounced, find fertile ground in a society faced by scandalous socio-economic differentiations such as South Africa. Nowhere provides a better point of departure than our institutions of learning, whereby they can create opportunities to overcome this racist attitude. And you must know, most recently in social media and at universities and schools, there have been major incidences of racist tendencies, and this is being manifested over and over again, and there's nothing being done except for an immediate response to it, and people are continuing perpetuating such racist tendencies. So there needs to be...
Okay, go ahead.
There needs to be a concerted effort, right? Legislation needs to be introduced in South Africa where people with racist tendencies must be able to be punished. It must be a punishable offense to introduce racist tendencies in society.
Yes,
by
Doc,
doing that,
you've actually
deter.
Yes, you've actually preempted my next question, which was just that actually. Would such criminalization of racism, in your opinion, would this actually boost social cohesion, or would this serve to further polarize South Africans?
Kirshni, concrete measures at a legislation level and its accompanying manifestations in our communities should be perpetually be in place. It is imperative that we need to create and constantly mold a society that has no room for racial discriminations or any other discrimination for that matter. And making racism a punishable offense will deter all potential racist communities in South Africa.
Doc, we understand that prejudice is indeed a learned behavior. Now, what should we be doing to promote education for social cohesion in a democratic and our multi-ethnic societies? Just speak to us about the need for education about racism at school and all other social spaces, including our recreational spaces like beaches, parks, etc., and why perhaps diversity courses should be part of all education institutions and their curriculums, workplaces even, cultural, social and sports organizations as well.
Yes, whilst many policies have been introduced since 1994, they have been designed to empower teachers to improve their skills on addressing issues like social cohesion and nation building. But research recently have found significant omissions in the existing national curriculum when it comes to issues of equity and social cohesion, etc. One important example is in life orientation. Social cohesion discussions about living together with people from different cultures, for instance, are not emphasized because schools tend to focus on priority subjects like science and mathematics. They often ask why they should waste their time on issues like social cohesion. But when there's a xenophobic problem or racist problem, then only they decide to actually teach children at school. So I think more needs to be done in schools, in universities. In fact, there should be compulsory subjects right up to grade 12 in schools and an additional course in university that can address racism and introduce students and learners to social cohesion and nation building efforts. And that is very, very important. So, in the formative years of a child's learning, you can really change the attitude of children and produce good leaders for the future.
Doc, ANC veteran Oliver Tambo just brings to mind something he said. The demon of racism has to be uprooted in its totality as it brutalizes entire peoples, unquote. Now, he said this back in 1961, the year of the Sharpeville massacre. And that's more than half a century on, but we still have one of the highest inequity indices in the world. Now, there are those who will argue that we can't talk about nurturing and sustaining social cohesion when we have such a divide and such a widening chasm between the haves and the have-nots. How do you respond?
Yes, there have been, as I said earlier, major accomplishments and significant changes in the past 22 years. But recent events, some of them which you have mentioned, have raised questions about how far South Africa has really come in building a united, non-racial society that embodies unity in diversity. Some have been negative and divisive and racially offensive. Social cohesion and nation building should not only be a government priority. Much has been done in recent years by government at the national level, provincial level and local government level. But social cohesion and nation building should be adopted by the corporate sector and everybody, because everybody have a role to play in ensuring that we move towards finding that ultimate goal and having a socially cohesive society. And this should be priority, because tensions are at workplaces, tensions are at schools, and if we work together as a collective, then only we can address social cohesion and nation building and eradicate racist tendencies.
Very quickly, Doc, we are running out of time. Before I let you go, what should a cohesive, unified society look like? What should it be characterized by? For most of us South Africans, we don't know that yet. And also the National Development Plan sets 2030 as a deadline for nation building, social cohesion. And it does state that by then South Africans will be more conscious of the things we have in common than our differences. I suppose I'm asking, will we reach a point where apartheid is no longer part of our living memory? And to what extent will that aid social cohesion? And of course, is this all achievable in just 15 years' time?
Yes, it is a mammoth undertaking in South Africa. South Africa being such a multiracial, multicultural society, and we cannot overemphasize the fact that we cannot undo the legacy of a unique system of apartheid overnight. It takes a lot of working to be done. Good examples that have shown how it works so well is, for example, the 2010 World Cup. When the 2010 World Cup was brought to South Africa has proven to the world that race, culture, religion and language was in the background. Rather, they've created a South African identity. So the best possible way in saying South Africa has reached social cohesion is when we create a unique South African identity where race, class, language, religion is not paramount, but our South Africanness and our identity as South Africans rather than Indians, coloreds, whites, blacks, that will prove to us beyond any doubt that we have achieved social cohesion in South Africa, and then South Africa will really be born as a new country in a socially cohesive manner.
Dr. Rajendran Govender, social anthropologist and social cohesion expert, joining us from our Durban studios. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us on the SABC News Desk, and Happy New Year to you, Doc.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the viewers.
Well, moving on to some